Hello, Kathryn. How are you?
Hello.
How are you? How's
Sorry,
life in West Yorkshire?
I think I needed to press got it then, didn't I?
Oh, that
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
hiya.
Yeah. Are you in Leeds? We're about in West
No,
Yorkshire, are you? No.
no, I'm not in Leeds. I'm just outside Pontefract.
Oh, yeah. Where they make the
Um,
cakes?
yes, that's right. Yeah, Pontefract cakes. Yeah,
Hmm.
there's they're horrible actually.
Are they?
They're blooming awful. Yeah, they're them like little black licorice things, aren't they?
Well, do you know what? To be honest, I've got a big fat belly, but I don't eat any type of cakes. I just don't fancy
Yeah.
them.
No, I won't eat them. And it's famous for Haribo as well.
Haribo or
You
the
know the
licorice.
sweeties.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've got all the big factories,
Oh,
warehouses
yeah,
here.
yeah.
So yeah.
Are they the ones with loads of E's in them? I think I gave some to my
Oh, aye.
granddaughters, and they start climbing the wall and freaking out.
Yeah, I wouldn't give them to kids.
Yeah.
I
Just
think they're made for kids, but I won't give them to them.
yeah. Kathryn, look at your brilliant website. You've got your
Right.
hands massively full. You're an editor, a ghostwriter, and a novelist in your own right. Do you have any
Yeah.
time for hobbies outside of writing
Do you
work?
know what? I think the main hobby that both me and my husband Jonathan do is playing pool. We love to play pool.
Yeah. You good?
And we like going away a lot as well. So I suppose that's kind of our hobbies, you know. We like our weekends away, and we love going on holiday and traveling about. We've got a little Alfa Romeo Spider that we take out as well. So that's another hobby.
Sorry, what is that?
An Alfa Romeo Spider.
Is it a type of car? I no idea.
Yes.
Is it a traveller?
Yes, you know, it's got steering wheels, Terry. You know, when you drive it.
A Spider? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's an Alfa Romeo Spider 916, so it's a convertible.
Yeah.
And it's about when was it registered? It's about 22 years old now.
Yeah, classic.
So it's coming up to being a classic.
Yeah.
And we actually drove it over to Italy.
Oh, wow.
In 2017 and got married, and it was our wedding car.
Brilliant.
So on my website, there's some photographs, some personal photographs, and they're all there of the some wedding photos that show the car.
I've had a look at them on your website. Do you know what put me in mind of the Italian Job, the Matt Monroe song, you know, that theme music, looking at your wedding?
That was our wedding song.
Was it? I love that song.
Yeah. Really fit. But yeah, it was it's one of our favourite songs, and we always play that. So
it's got the Italian lyrics. Yeah. Well, I can't remember what it's called. It's not my head. I can sing it. It's playing in my head.
It's on days like these.
On days like these, yeah. On YouTube, there's a video of a fella just driving around the scary Benz in a fast car.
Oh, it's a fabulous film. Yeah, brilliant film. Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, we actually drove along the Gotthard's Pass.
Did you?
On our way to Italy, and we had that playing while we were driving on the pass.
Is that where the gangsters, they come and they push the cars over the hillside?
Yeah, I think it is. I'm not 100% sure though, so don't quote me on that. I think it could be. Yeah.
I would not go near there. I get a nosebleed. I'm on the first floor.
It was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. It really was.
You've just come back from Zante as well, haven't you?
Yeah, we went to Zante last week. Yeah. So that was good. Nice and restful.
Oh, nice one. I wanted to mention that we were chatting offline. You had an almost tragic accident, didn't you, on one particular holiday we were talking about?
Yeah.
That sounded awful.
Back in 2019 it was, and we went away to celebrate our wedding anniversary on the 25th of May, and we went on a canal barge. And I remember the morning, and I remember going to what's it called, begins with an S, and I can't even remember the bloody name of it now. I'm not supposed to swear, am I?
No, it's all right. What about it?
Anyway, I remember walking around the market, and then I remember getting back on the boat, and I was dead stressed out because it was like a case of jumping on and off the boat, you know, to every time you came to a lock, and I got the job of jumping on and off the boat while Jonathan was steering it, you see.
That's quite scary doing that, controlling the lock. You can drown in them things.
It was horrible. Yeah. And of course I wasn't strong enough to I'm doing this now. I was stressed to the eyeballs with it all. Yeah. And then next minute Jonathan heard this woman screaming, and I'd fallen in the canal.
Oof.
And I'd had an epileptic seizure, because I've had epilepsy. I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 28.
Yeah.
And I'd literally not had a seizure for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
And it was not to go too much into
Sure,
it, but it was
sure.
all very hormonal.
Yeah.
So it just nearly died. I was literally a minute away. You know, if it hadn't been for Jonathan knowing what to do, I wouldn't be here now.
What? So he dived in and pulled you out then?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately there was a couple walking along the canal, and they helped, and they got me out of the canal, and so I'd like broke ribs because of all the pulling, and I pulled my shoulder out, and I was in a right state, like, so I ended up in hospital for 3 days for our anniversary.
Oh dear. But anyway, your editorial services, very comprehensive. It covers the whole range, doesn't it? From formatting, traditional editing, cover format, and also you provide like a critique for someone who's thinking, you know, is this any good? Do you want to tell me about it? What?
Yeah, it's kind of an A to Z service, if you like, a one-stop shop. Yeah. So you know, I'll talk to the author, and we'll discuss where they want to go. If they're having a few problems trying to begin writing the book, I can help them with ideas and just throw things out there, you know, and just try and help them with the characterization. Try and help them with plot ideas, and that's where the mentoring comes in. Okay. And then if they've written the book and they want it looked at, because, you know, for example, I had a client not long ago who had written a book, and she'd had a few difficult reviews, shall we say, and she needed somebody to go over it. So I went over it, and I gave her a full critique, which was a few pages of you know, where she was going wrong, but where she's going right as well, because you've got to encourage them as well. There's no point just being doom and gloom. But I pointed out areas where she needed to improve, and there was a lot of I'm not going to pick on her especially, but there was punctuation errors, which would have been picked up anyway in reviews, and perhaps it wasn't edited to a good enough standard. So that's kind of what I'll do in a critique. Okay. You know, it's for me as an author as well as an editor. I always feel it's very important to give the client a lot of encouragement, because if you just sit there and say, "Nah, it's rubbish, that it's not going to work," where does that leave you? They're either going to publish it anyway and it'll be rubbish, or they're just going to forget it. And I don't want them to do that, because it's, you know, I'm a passionate author personally, so I'd like to work with other passionate authors, and that's why I spend a lot of my time encouraging clients. You know, you can do this. You've got the ability to do this, and sometimes you get somebody saying, "Oh, I don't know where I'm going wrong," and I'll say, "Well, I'll show you where you're going wrong." And if at the end of the day, it's up to them whether they want to change it or not. You know, hopefully they do. 9 times out of 10, they do change areas that I've pointed out. So that's great. So that's kind of where the critiquing comes in.
I can understand that. I know a lot of writers, they have sort of, it's their baby in a way, isn't it? You know, their work, and they're sort of reluctant to show it to the outsider. Not so much a delicate, fragile nature, but it's their preciousness, really, isn't it?
It's absolutely that. You know, you imagine that you've spent, I don't know, 5 or 6 months, and I've had clients that have spent years writing a book, and then they suddenly part with it. And I say to them, do not go back into your manuscript and start making changes, because it's with me now. You know, because if they start making further changes, I need to know what those changes are. Otherwise, there may create some inconsistencies. You know, chapter 2 might give a description about I don't know, a brown-eyed little boy, and then in chapter 5 that little boy might be blue-eyed. And so it's very important that once their baby, shall we say, has been passed to me, that they leave it alone and they let me work on it.
About your editing, do you find that you pick up that typical type of writer's tics, things like I don't know, using the word just or too many adverbs? Is it like a commonality between like a sort of a new writer? No,
they're all unique. Every writer's unique, and that's what I love about this job.
Okay.
You know, I love to see people's different writing styles, and it's quite interesting. One thing I do tend to do, which I don't think all editors will do this, is I help the author to rewrite what might need to be rewritten. A lot of editors probably just point out, you know, suggestions, maybe change this, maybe change that. But because I think I'm a creative writer anyway, and I have been for a very long time, that has helped me to be able to help other people, you know, improve a sentence or a paragraph or some kind of plot idea or a character arc. And I find it works. You know, it's worked for all my clients. There's not many clients have said to me, no, I don't want you to do any rewriting, because they appreciate it, and that's great. Again, that's not telling them how to write, because what's very, very important when you're editing a book is to keep the author's voice. So what, you know, you can do all this rewriting, which I did do for a client that I'm still working with at the moment. And it was quite difficult, because I had to, all the way through, I had to make sure I kept her voice within the sentence structure. And we have very different voices with our writing. You know, me as an author, I would write differently to how she writes. So I had to really get into her frame of mind, and it wasn't the easiest thing to do.
I can imagine that to be really difficult. It's like your time sharing, your
challenging,
brain.
but it was good. I enjoyed doing it because it gets your creative juices flowing.
Yeah, it sounds like so it benefits that other side. Have you had any sort of successes with writers getting into publication? Anyone that springs to mind?
Yeah, I have. I mean, to be fair, they've all been a success. I don't want to single anybody out, because they're all amazing writers that I take on. They've all been, most of them have been self-published, and that's something that I do for them as well. But one in particular is Paul, and he recently got a publishing contract. He writes erotica. And his books are absolutely fantastic, and he's just finished his second book now, and he's going to write another one, so it's a trilogy.
Brilliant.
But the first one he submitted to a publisher, and it was accepted. So that was absolutely fantastic. So I was really proud, really proud.
Would you get a credit then on the book sale, you know, edited by?
No.
Was that
no,
his own
I
publisher?
mean, I was just his editor.
Okay.
I'm just his editor. You know, he was lovely. He mentioned me in the acknowledgements, and most authors do that, and that's all I want. I don't want a cut of what they're earning. They pay me to do an editing job for them, you know, and that's enough.
Oh, fair enough. Can I ask you about the process of editing? Do you use Microsoft track changes?
I do,
It thinks of you with your initials on it, changes made by.
I mean, I've got my name on it. So you've got like your comments in the sidebar, and I have everything in red. So any changes I make in a document, everything's in red. So if I've taken a comma out, or taken a full stop out, or put one in, changed quotation marks, made any deletions or additions, anything at all is in red ink. So some manuscripts go back to the author, and they probably go, oh my God.
So you change everything.
So I do warn my clients before I send it back, you know, there's quite a lot of red in this one. So
Can I ask, try and put this delicately, have you ever had occasions when you have a writer who basically doesn't have a great talent for writing, where you may suggest perhaps going down the ghostwriting route, maybe to get their story sort of out there?
I've never done that.
Have you been?
I've done a few ghostwriting projects, one was for a really, really good friend of mine called Noel Sorby, and he's a medium, a psychic medium, and I wrote his biography. And
Noel
he's got
Sorby, was that what?
Noel Sorby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his book is called My Life, My Story.
Okay.
And I wrote that for him with notes. He sent me tons and tons of notes.
Yeah.
And I've got another one coming for him, I think sometime this year. I'm not sure when. And that's going to consist of his readings, that he does on stage and for private clients and that. So that'll be really interesting. But I wouldn't say to an author, you can't write. So let me write it for you.
I'll put it delicately,
because that would be really rude.
For
a start.
Destroy someone's ego.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a couple of authors in that, perhaps I could have written for them, but what I do is I always ask the permission first. When I start editing, if I realise that this isn't working, I'll get on the video call with them. I always do a WhatsApp video call with my clients, and I'll get on the call with them and just say, look, it's going to need some rewriting. Are you okay if I go ahead and do it for you? And they've all said yes. So, I can't argue with that, because I love rewriting. I absolutely love the rewriting process. I really do.
Do people send you like an audio tape or things like that for you to?
No, I've had for Noel, like I said, I've still got all his notes down there. Actually, I won't throw them away because he might want them back again one day. So I'll just keep them in my office. But he sent me absolutely reams and reams of notes, just handwritten. And he posted them in installments for me. And I just, whenever he sent them to me, I just then transcribed them into legible words, sentences, if you like, and made a book from it. So it's a really good book, actually. It's well worth a read. It's like I say, it's a biography, but it's a very, very good book. The other guy that I did a big ghostwriting project for was Henry Davis, and he is the owner of We Buy Any House in Liverpool. So he's a great guy, Henry. And he's a property developer. He's a very successful property developer. He does a lot of courses and tutorials for them. And he's extremely successful. So I was very, very honoured to do his book for him. And he sent me a lot of typed notes that he'd actually typed himself, and I just more or less, wrote the book for him. He had somebody else doing bits for him as well, so it wasn't just me. I think there was two of us writing bits and pieces, but we got there in the end. And again, he's had a very successful book out of it.
Superb. Would you be dreading getting one from a doctor with a doctor's handwriting?
Oh gosh, can you imagine? Oh dear, I think you'd have to type it. But I used to be a transcriber, so I used to have headphones in, and I used to transcribe from tapes. I did that for donkey's years, working in solicitors' offices all through the 90s. And then I got a job before I went into writing my own books. I got a job working for a lady, and she sent me things over the internet digitally, and I can't remember the software that we use now because it was ages ago. But I did a lot of transcribing for the Hillsborough disaster, and that was really, really interesting as well. I can't talk about that for obvious reasons. There
was about 1 million documents involved.
Pardon?
I remember that one said there was like 1 million documents that had to be.
Oh, it was just horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. I had to decipher all these statements. It was quite hard. And then I did a lot of work for the police as well, transcribing like police interview statements in the courts and stuff like that. So I would definitely do that again when I'm with my ghostwriting. That's dead easy to do.
Is it? Are you type really fast then? Really fast and accurate?
Yeah, I am a fast typer. I've been I mean, I've been typing since I was in school. You know, I used to have one of them dead old-fashioned typewriters with the Tip-X.
Oh yeah.
Dead old me.
Yeah.
And then I think my mum and dad bought me an electronic one, and it's had one of those eraser ribbons on it as well. So I was really posh at that point.
Yeah.
Poshest bird in Wigan I was. Yeah, it's dead easy now.
Yeah. Can we move on and talk about your books then, your fiction writing?
Definitely, yeah.
How much a part of your life is this? Is this like a 30% and you editing another 30?
It's not much of my life at the moment because I've been so busy with my editing.
Aye.
I've not really concentrated much on my own books, so I've not been advertising them very much.
Yeah.
But I am actually writing another book at the moment in my spare time, which is quite rare.
Yeah.
And it's a spin-off of one of the books, one of the series of books that I wrote.
Rosehill.
No, this one's the Gary Stringer series. There's two, Bedknobs and Bachelors, and Seminars and Shenanigans.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now.
And this is a spin-off of those books. This is about one of the characters in the book called Harriet Bell. Yeah. And she's just such a character. Yeah. It's very rude and very naughty and very funny.
That's great.
And very northern.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying writing that, but like I said, I'm just doing that in my spare time when I'm a bit quiet.
You've got most of the writers that we chat to, they write in one particular genre. You know, they're a science fiction or they're horror writer. Yeah. You haven't stuck with any particular one genre, have you?
No, I haven't. I prefer to write in different genres. I like all sorts of different categories. You know, I mean, I love the Wine Cellar is an erotic psychological thriller. Yeah. Discovery at Rosehill and Secrets at Rosehill are paranormal. Yeah. Sort of romance, women's fiction, if you like. Yeah. Nightingale Woods, that's a bit of a romantic rom-com sort of thing. I don't really know what I'd class that as, to be honest with you. I wrote that in 2 weeks.
Did you? What the hell?
I did, yeah. I just literally had 2 spare weeks and I just wrote it. Yeah. And I did all my own formatting on that one as well, so that was dead clever. Yeah. And then the Gary Stringer books, again, they're humour. Yeah. Gary's a Jack the Lad, a bachelor boy, and they're really quite cheeky. And they're quite funny ones. But there's also an element of warmth in the stories. Yeah. People warm to Gary. He's a lovely guy. He's a very caring guy, even though he's trying to get on the straight and narrow after being such a bachelor boy, if you like. So people do warm to him. Okay. And then the Wine Cellar, of course, is probably my best work. The Wine Cellar. Yeah, I absolutely love that book.
I like the cover behind me.
It's an amazing cover, isn't it?
Superb. Who designed the covers for you? Did you do that yourself?
No, oh gosh, I wish I could. No, I have a graphic designer called Hamad, and he lives in Nottingham. Yeah. And he does a lot of the covers for me and the formatting, the interior formatting. Oh yeah, yeah. So he does all that for me. Sometimes the client wants to do their own, and that's fine. But he does the majority of it for me.
Have you got any sort of personal links with any of the covers?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, the Discovery at Rosehill. Yeah. And Secrets at Rosehill, very personal links to those. The actual cover, that wasn't designed by Hamad. That was designed by another guy called Harrison Davis. Yeah. When I used to live in Northumberland, and the house on the front is Wallington Hall in Northumberland. Oh, but obviously it's been doctored. It's been enhanced, and the image has been changed slightly. With the gates have been put in front and everything. Yeah. But the big thing about those books is on Discovery at Rosehill, you can just about see the figure of my grandma. Oh, yeah. And on the front of Secrets at Rosehill, you can see the figure of my granddad. Oh, and Grandma nice. And I was very close to Grandma. My granddad died when I was about 3, so I don't really remember him very well. I've got one memory of him coming in from work one one night or afternoon or whatever, I don't know. And I was sat on my mum's knee at the time, and he just popped his head round the door and he said, "All right, cock." And that's how they talk in Wigan, you know. So that's the only memory I've got of him. But it'll never go away. But my grandma was absolutely lovely lady, and she died in 1990. And it's just kind of a tribute, really, if you like, to people that I love. And that book I dedicated the books to my dad as well, because my dad died in 2001. I lost him. And that was tragic. So he actually inspired those books after he died. So there's another story behind all that as well, you see, because I lived in a farmhouse up in Northumberland that was particularly active, and I got a lot of experiences there, which inspired me to create a blog, which I don't have anymore. That was called Crystal Jigsaw. And on my blog, I used to write about all my paranormal experiences that were taking place in the house and around the farm. And I suddenly just thought, I've got to put this into a book. And I turned it into a fiction. And that's how Discover It Rose Hill was created. And it was my dad. Literally, I knew he was there.
His presence.
You know, and I knew that he was telling me, you've got to do this. This is your path in life. You've got to write this book, and it's going to lead to other things. And it certainly did.
Brilliant. That's beautiful homage for your dad.
Absolutely, yeah. He's I don't know if you can see him. He's up there.
I see that. I just see the hands.
I'll just
now I can. Oh yeah.
So
I don't know why he looks like a politician. Quick glance then.
He was quite an important figure in the Wigan area.
We were talking about your writing, and one question that sort of occurs to me: who edits an editor? Do you have an editor?
That's a good question. That
you edit yourself?
I do have an editor, and she's called Elaine Denning.
And
she's my very best friend in the whole wide world. Elaine is a very, very professional editor, and she's been editing for about 15 years. And we sort of decided to go into business together. And then a few things happened in her personal life, so I just kind of took over, if you like. And then she's slowly getting back into it now, but I'm kind of a one-man band now. We sort of give each other work, if you like, but we do our own, if that makes sense. So we're not in a team anymore. We just do our own stuff, and we get in our own clients.
Okay. Is she a writer as well? Does she write fiction?
She's a very good writer. She used to write a fantastic blog. That's how we met years ago. But she's not written any books, but she's an amazing writer.
You mentioned the blog a couple of times. Who designed your website? Is that you're doing? And do you update it regularly?
Do you know what? I actually built that website.
That is hats off. It's
with Squarespace, and I did a lot of tutorials on YouTube in order to do it, because I'm really not very technical at all.
No,
I was determined to do it, you know, and I wasn't prepared to pay somebody a shed load of money to do it when I knew I was quite capable of doing it myself. And I did, and I just as time's gone on, you know, I write a blog on there. I don't update my blog very often because I just don't get time. But I'll update it with this probably in the next week or so. As you can see, I've got all my editing services on there, and I've got a client's gallery on there with some of the books that I've worked on. Some testimonials are on there as well. And then there's a bit of personal information about me, and of course my personal photographs. So it's a lovely. I love it. I love my website.
Is that the best way to contact you for the services? Is that through your website? Or do you use other stuff?
There's a contact me button on the website, so you can that'll just send an email to me. I'll get the email, or I'm always on Twitter. you know, so I do drum up quite a bit of business on Twitter. So, and I get a lot of direct messages on Twitter from potential clients. Some people just inquiring, some people asking if I can edit for them, stuff like that. I've had a lot of clients through Twitter, to be fair.
Oh, superb.
Yeah.
Do you use Facebook as well?
No, I don't. I used to, but I deleted my account about a year ago now. It just wasn't doing anything for me, Facebook. I wasn't. I was not really getting anything out of it. I find that the writing community is superb on Twitter. Very, very supportive and encouraging. And I get a lot of, you know, like I say, I get a lot of business on Twitter. And people, I like to interact with authors as well, even not just people that I'm going to work with, but just authors in general. You know, and just talk to them about their books and what they're doing with their success stories, if you like. And because everybody's got their own story, everybody's interesting, and it's lovely to hear a success story, because we hear so much doom and gloom in the world, don't we?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's why I started doing these chats on the YouTube channel, because I've written one book, but I wanted to talk to other writers around the world. And you find, you know, that generally they're the same. They're very sort of sharing about their writing experiences and about their sort of, in a way, sort of hidden emotions that you don't get to talk about, you don't get to see. And it's great to put a face behind that name on a book cover. Yeah,
it is. Not a lot of authors actually will put their picture on a cover. I've put mine on, but I've not done it recently. So my mugshot on the Discovery at Rose Hill books is dead old, because the first one came out in 2010, and I think the second one came out in 2013. So I probably don't look anything like that now.
The Wine Cellar, that's your latest novel, isn't it? When was that? Was that what, 2 years ago?
No, that was that last year or the year before? I can't remember now.
2020. Do you know what? You know, since COVID.
So it was 2 years ago, yeah. So it's not my latest one. The last one I brought out was Seminars and Shenanigans last year. Yeah.
I was just going to say, you know, since COVID, 2 years ago, I've lost track of time within these past 2 years.
Haven't we all?
Yeah. Like if someone, you normally got your, I don't know, your summer, spring and autumn, winter.
Yeah.
But if someone says, what did you do last year? And I can't remember 1 year or 2 years ago. It's horrible. It's weird.
I know it is. It's like it's for some people, it's just been wiped out, hasn't it? It's just been. It's such a shame, really.
So something we mentioned before, that the fact that you write in different genres. Do you think that's helped by the fact that you're editing
a
whole wide range of genres, so you can put your head in those different places?
Totally. Yeah. The only genre I wouldn't write in myself is fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that's quite a challenging genre to write, and I've edited a few fantasy books, and they've been absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And it's a brilliant. I'm reading one at the moment actually for a client, because I've got the sequel of this one that I'm reading. I've got the sequel to edit, so I need to bring myself up to date with what it's about, with the, you know, getting to the characters' heads and that sort of thing. So, but I wouldn't write a fantasy book myself, because it's not something that I don't think my imagination could go there. I think my imagination's more for the psychological thrillers and the paranormals and
more logical.
Probably. I don't know. I wouldn't like to say, but Karen, who I'm working with at the moment, her writing's absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah.
It really is. Imagination, wow. But so I wouldn't write in fantasy, but I totally admire authors that do, and there's a lot of them on Twitter as well. And I'd love to get in some more fantasy work, to be honest with you, because it's absolutely fantastic. Another genre that I love editing, and the Wine Cellar is based on this as well, is erotica.
Oh yeah.
Paul, my client, his books, the guy that I was telling you about before, that's been published, his books are eroticas, and they're absolutely superb, and I love it. I love editing that, because I love writing that myself. I like doing a little bit of rewriting, you know, and writing it, sort of changing a sex scene, if you like, and you know, that's really good. I really enjoy that.
Do you find that your glasses are steaming up sometimes as you're reading? Right.
Maybe if I wore them, Terry, yeah.
Your contacts.
Yeah.
My mother.
Yeah, you'd have to pour yourself a glass of wine occasionally.
Right, so I think we're getting near the end. Can I ask you, where can readers buy your books from your website? Is that the best place to go, or Amazon?
Yeah, I mean they're all on Amazon, to be honest. So if you go to my website, there's a page on there called I think it's called Books, and if you just click on the actual cover, it'll give you the link and it'll send you to the Amazon site. It'll send you to the book on Amazon. Yeah. So that's easy enough. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're all out in paperback and Kindle.
Have you had a look at doing an audio version of any of the books?
No, I haven't actually. And do you know what? I've done a few readings myself. I've got a few up on YouTube. Oh yeah. I've got a channel on there which I should do a lot more with. I did a few readings for Seminars and Shenanigans, and that's when we kind of get to know Harriet Bell, whom I'm using to write the main character in the spin-off. Yeah. And I absolutely love doing it, and I'd love to narrate my own book. Yeah. Truth be known, and it's something that I've even thought about getting into, narrating as well. But whether I ever will do that, I don't know.
Let's do another extract from Seminars and Shenanigans, my new release. I'm starting from chapter 5, and I'm going to play the parts of both Gary, of course, and Harriet. Some of you know Harriet. She's a nutcase. She's a great character. My mood was a bit solemn at work the next day, and I could sense Harriet's enthusiasm at dying to ask me what my problem was. She did quite a lot of typing for me these days, and even though I was grateful to her, she seemed to think it gave her an excuse to badger me on my private life. Considering she'd been caught more than once with her knickers around her ankles, screamed hypocrite in my view. But I had another letter that needed doing, and so I swallowed my pride and went to see her just before lunch. "Hi Gary, how's it going?" she asked, taking the A4 sheet off me, containing my badly written drafted letter to Chloe Barber. "Tickety-boo," I replied, smiling and hoping she would turn her attention to the job I was giving her to do. "Only you don't seem yourself. You've been a bit off the last few days. You can talk to me if you need someone to listen." "Thanks, Harriet, I appreciate that. Do you want to go to Jack's for lunch and we can have a chat?" Too keen. Plus Jack's was somewhere I tended to avoid after the trouble I'd had with Janice, who almost stole my heart and nearly ruined my wedding day. Mind you, looking back in hindsight, it might not have been a bad thing if she had ruined my wedding. I've brought some sarnies in. There was a bag of crisps and an out-of-date pork pie from Alfie's fridge in my briefcase. "Oh, right, well, how about I pop to your office when I've typed this up and we can have a coffee and a natter?" It was obvious she wasn't going to give up, so I decided to throw the towel in. "Yeah, okay, it needs posting first class today, so if you can make it a priority, please." "I'll be 10 minutes. She would too. It didn't take Harriet long to type a letter, and she turned her back on me and got to work before I'd even opened the door to leave.
Well, it's a new challenge for you there, isn't it?
It is, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely something I'd like to think about doing in the future, and because I've thoroughly enjoyed doing readings of my own books. Yeah. And because I love getting into character as well. I did a bit of amateur dramatics many years ago. Yeah, yeah. So I quite like being on stage and being a different character. Bit of role play.
Oh, brilliant!
So, yeah. So I could do that one day.
Yeah, well, I'll look out for it. I think our time's up, Kathryn. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It has, yeah, very much so.
I really appreciate
enjoyed it. Thank you.
Good. Well, let's keep in touch on Twitter as we have been.
Definitely.
And let's have another chat maybe when this audio version comes out.
Definitely.
Or on the next novel, even, whichever comes first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that I'll bring. I've not got a title yet for the Harriet Bell book. I need to find something. I need a bit of a play on words, I think, for Harriet Bell. So I'll have to have a good think about that. but I don't know when that's ever going to get finished. I'm probably only about 20,000 words into it at the moment, and it's going to be around the 80,000 mark. So that's going to be quite a while, because obviously getting editing work coming in, that will always come first.
It's your bread and butter, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. And then, of course, you know, sometimes I got like a spare afternoon, so I'll do a little bit of writing myself, and then one of my clients will get in touch with me. Can I ask you something? Can you do this? Can you do that? Yes, no problem.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Harriet.
No, you need a dark, quiet room, don't you, when you're doing your writing?
Yeah, but I'll to be honest with you, Terry, I absolutely love the editing, and you know, I'm well into that. Really am, and I'd love to keep that going now. As a, you know, and I want to get some, like I say, get some lots and lots of clients in, and get some different genres as well. I'd like to do another erotic novel, and then probably another fantasy novel.
Okay.
But and anything really. I'm not fussy.
Yeah.
I just love books, and I love working with authors. It's so rewarding to actually know that you've helped somebody, you know, publish a book, because it's some people it's a massive ambition. And if I've been that person to help them, well, that's incredibly rewarding, you know.
It is.
You can't ask for more than that really in your job.
That's massive job satisfaction, that is.
It absolutely is huge.
Your passion, your enthusiasm, it shines through, Kathryn. It really does.
Yeah, I've always been a writer. I won a competition for writing a story when I was 10 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always written stories. You know, growing up, I used to sit in my bedroom at my desk writing stories with a pencil and stuff. And then when I got my first typewriter, I was on the typewriter writing stories. And so it's always been there. It's always been part of me.
Yeah.
The writing, you know.
It's great that you can do that for a living as well. Then, you know, in that
it is
environment of writing, the writer's world.
Yeah, I mean, like I say on Twitter quite often, you know, I hashtag I love my job. I truly do love my job.
Yeah.
I'm very, very lucky to do what I do. You know, so.
Well. On that note, I'll say thanks, and let's keep in touch.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to press this stop recording button.